On a clear summer day in 2057, the sky above every major city on Earth lit up with strange lights. People stopped in the streets to stare upward. Cars pulled over. TV broadcasts cut to emergency news. Massive ships hovered in the atmosphere, silent and waiting. After decades of searching the stars and listening for signals, first contact had arrived without warning. Zachary Miller had been teaching his university physics class when the ships appeared. Now, just 3 days later, he stood before the alien delegation as one of Earth's chosen representatives. Next to him, diplomat Laura Bennett squeezed his arm reassuringly. "Remember to breathe," she whispered. The aliens called themselves the Galactic Confederation, 27 species working together to explore and govern the stars. Their ambassador, a tall being with iridescent skin and 4 arms, spoke through a translation device. "We have observed your world for some time," the alien said. "Your species shows great promise. We welcome you to join our community of worlds." In the weeks that followed, Earth's governments met in emergency sessions. The aliens seemed peaceful. They offered medical technology that could cure cancer. They showed humans how to build engines that could travel faster than light. They explained the rules and customs of their confederation. Some people were afraid. Others were excited. But most agreed. This was humanity's greatest opportunity. 6 months after the ships arrived, Earth voted to join the Galactic Confederation. Zachary and Laura became Earth's first official ambassadors to the stars. "I still can't believe they chose us," Zachary said as their shuttle approached the massive Confederation station orbiting Jupiter, a physics professor and a diplomat. Laura smiled. "They wanted someone who understands science and someone who understands people. Makes sense to me." The aliens gave humans access to nearby star systems. Soon, the first human colonies appeared on distant worlds. Earth companies began trading with alien merchants. Human scientists worked alongside alien researchers. Children in schools learned about the 27-member species and their unique cultures. For the first time in history, all of Earth seemed united in purpose. Old enemies became partners in the rush to reach the stars. Peter Garcia, captain of the first human-built faster-than-light ship, planted flags on 3 new colony worlds. Scientist Rebecca Wilson developed new farming techniques that combined Earth methods with alien technology. Young engineer Jack Murphy became famous for adapting alien tools to work better for human hands. 15 years passed. Human colonies spread to 12 star systems. Millions of people now lived away from Earth. Human innovations became popular even among alien species. At a Confederation summit, Zachary, now older with gray in his hair, gave a speech about human progress. Many alien representatives applauded, but he noticed some did not. "The Khazari delegation seems concerned," Laura said later in their private quarters. The Khazari were one of the oldest and most powerful species in the Confederation. Tall, with scaled skin and eyes that seemed to see everything. "They've always been cautious about us," Zachary replied. "Remember what their ambassador said when we first joined? That humans adapt too quickly." Laura nodded. "They've been tracking our military history, all those wars we fought. They think we're dangerous." Zachary laughed. "We've been nothing but peaceful since joining. We follow every rule. Our people are thriving without conflict. If they think this version of humanity is dangerous, they don't understand us at all." "Maybe that's what worries them," Laura said quietly, "that they don't understand us." That night, as they slept, urgent messages from Earth started arriving. But by then, the communication systems had been blocked. By morning, Earth had gone silent. No one knew that humanity's true test was just beginning. The aliens were about to learn what humans were really capable of when pushed too far. Samantha Wright paced the floor of her office on Proxima Centauri IV. For 3 days, she had tried to reach Earth. Nothing but silence answered her calls. "There has to be an explanation," she said to Eric Johnson, who stood by the window. The fleet commander's uniform looked wrinkled. He hadn't slept either. All ships trying to reach Earth are being turned away, Eric said. The Confederation claims there's a biological hazard, a deadly virus that requires quarantine. Samantha stopped pacing. Do you believe that? No, Eric said quietly. My sources say there are battle cruisers in orbit around Earth, not medical ships. They had both risen high in the ranks over 15 years. Samantha had become Earth's chief diplomat to the Confederation, while Eric commanded the small but growing human fleet. But now their positions meant nothing if they couldn't even contact their homeworld. That night, they met in secret with a Xorilian trader, a squid-like alien known for selling information. The meeting place was a dark corner of the station's lowest level. The quarantine is a lie, the Xorilian whispered, its tentacles moving nervously. The Khazari convinced the Confederation Council that humans were advancing too quickly. They presented evidence that Earth was secretly building weapons. That's not true, Samantha said. Truth matters little in power games, the Xorilian replied. The Khazari fear you. Humans adapt faster than any species they've encountered. In just 15 years, you've spread to many star systems. Some of your technologies already improve on theirs. So they attacked Earth. Eric's voice was cold with anger. Not attacked. Contained. They call it preventive security. But the result is the same. The next morning, Samantha and Eric tried to address the Confederation Council. They were denied entry. When they returned to their offices, they found security forces searching their files. We need to leave, Eric said, grabbing Samantha's arm. Now, they barely escaped the station using service corridors Eric had memorized. His small personal shuttle left minutes before security locked down all departures. We're fugitives now, Samantha said as they watched the station grow smaller on the view screen. No, we're the resistance, Eric replied. Over the next 2 weeks, they visited 3 human colony worlds. Each time, they found confusion and fear. The colonies had also lost contact with Earth. Confederation officials told different stories at each location. Solar flares, technical problems, temporary communication issues. On New Terra, the largest human colony, they met with Governor Frank Davis. After hearing their story, he gave them access to a long-range scanner normally used for astronomical research. My God, Samantha whispered as the images became clear. Earth was surrounded by a blockade of ships. Some areas on the planet showed signs of weapons fire. This is an invasion, Eric said. That night, they broadcast the truth to all human colonies using emergency channels. Within hours, Confederation forces labeled them terrorists spreading dangerous misinformation. Arrest warrants went out. But the truth couldn't be stopped. Across every human settlement, people saw the images of their homeworld under siege. On the 5th day after their broadcast, while hiding on a small mining outpost, they received their first response. Kelly Martinez, captain of a transport ship, arrived with 20 crew members and news. New Terra has declared independence from the Confederation, she told them. 3 other colonies have followed. They're calling for all humans to unite. It won't be enough, Eric said. We have some ships, but nothing that can fight their fleets. Samantha looked at the small group gathered around them, the first of many who would join their cause. Then we don't fight like them, she said. We fight like humans. None of the aliens truly understood what that meant. They didn't realize that humans came from a world that had shaped them through millions of years of survival against overwhelming odds. They had never seen what humans could become when backed into a corner. They were about to find out. Patricia Alvarez didn't look up from her work when the door to her lab opened. The small colony on Uraba had been in chaos since news about Earth spread. As chief engineer, she had more important things to do than deal with more panicked people. Whatever it is, make it quick, she said, adjusting wires in the device on her workbench. I hear you can make ships invisible, a voice said. Patricia turned. A woman in a uniform she didn't recognize stood there. Behind her was a tall man with commander insignia. Samantha Wright, the woman said. And this is Eric Johnson. Patricia knew those names. Everyone did now. Not invisible, Patricia corrected, but I can bend sensor readings, make a ship look like space junk or background radiation. That's exactly what we need, Eric said. Within days, Patricia joined the growing resistance. Her stealth technology gave human ships a fighting chance against the superior Confederation vessels. On Mars Colony, Dr. Nathan Winters watched as 50 volunteers entered his training facility. Before the betrayal, he had designed survival courses for colonists facing harsh environments. Now he had a different purpose. Earth is a tough world, he told the volunteers. Higher gravity than most Confederation homeworlds. Extreme weather, varied terrain. Those things shaped us, made us stronger than they expect. The training was brutal. Simulated combat in high gravity. Operations with limited oxygen. Fighting in darkness. Each session pushed human limits further. The aliens think we're contained, Mathen told his exhausted trainees. They don't understand that humans evolved as persistence predators. We never stop. On an asteroid mining colony, Kevin Daniels transformed his company practically overnight. Mining equipment became weapons factories. Excavation explosives became warheads. Transport ships were fitted with makeshift armor. We can't match their technology, Kevin told his workers, but we can overwhelm them with numbers and surprise. Across human space, colonies prepared for war, but they lacked coordination. Some wanted immediate attacks on Confederation outposts. Others focused on fortifying their worlds. A few even considered surrender. The scattered resistance needed leadership. That leadership arrived 6 weeks after Earth's fall. Rear Admiral Olivia Russell had been inspecting the outer colony defense systems when the betrayal happened. Her small flotilla of 5 warships was the largest human military force still free. She established a hidden base in a dense asteroid belt, where sensor readings were naturally distorted. Messages went out through secure channels to all resistance groups. One by one, they came. Patricia brought her stealth technology. Nathan arrived with his first group of trained fighters. Kevin delivered the first batch of weapons his factories had produced. And many more came. Scientists, soldiers, pilots, engineers, all bringing what skills they had. In the heart of the asteroid base, Olivia addressed the gathered leaders. "We can't win a direct war," she said plainly. "They outnumber us. Their technology is more advanced. Their weapons are stronger. So what do? Someone called out. "We become what they fear," Samantha Wright answered, stepping forward. "They call Earth a hellworld because it's harsher than their home planets. They call us Hellworlders as an insult. So we take the name," Eric added. "We show them what it really means to evolve on a world that tries to kill you every day." The plan came together over long nights. They would not fight like a conventional military. No large fleets, no occupied territories. Just small, fast ships appearing from nowhere, striking hard, and vanishing before the enemy could respond. One Confederation officer from a captured outpost later described the first attack. "They came out of the darkness. We didn't detect them until they were already inside our perimeter. They moved faster than seemed possible. And they kept fighting even when wounded. What kind of world creates such beings?" The answer was simple. Earth. The Hellworlders had arrived. Commander Scott Martinez studied the holographic map of the Ta City outpost. The Confederation had built it 3 years ago as a refueling station. Now it served as a forward base for operations against human colonies. "Their security is heaviest here and here," Scott said, pointing to the northern and eastern sectors. "But their sensors have a blind spot in this canyon. Patricia's stealth tech will get us through." 20 soldiers listened carefully. They wore black armor designed by Kevin's engineers. Each carried weapons that looked simple but held deadly power. "Remember your training," Scott continued. "We hit fast. We get what we need. We leave." Questions. A young woman raised her hand. "Sir, what if we encounter civilians from other species?" "We're not here for revenge," Scott answered firmly. "We need their data and technology. No unnecessary harm." That night, 3 small ships approached the outpost. To Confederation sensors, they appeared as nothing more than passing meteors. The ships landed silently in the canyon. Scott led his team through the darkness. They moved quickly, using the rough terrain to their advantage. Earth's higher gravity had made them stronger than most Confederation species. Their muscles and bones had developed under conditions that would crush many aliens. The first guard they encountered was Araxian, a tall species with 4 eyes. Before the alien could react, 2 soldiers knocked him unconscious and secured him with restraints. "Remember, non-lethal if possible," Scott whispered. They reached the main facility unopposed. Here, they split into 3 teams. Scott's group headed for the command center. The door was locked, but their hacking device, built using stolen Confederation technology, opened it within seconds. Inside, 4 aliens worked at control stations. They looked up in shock. "Nobody move," Scott ordered. "Hands where we can see them." One alien reached for an alarm. A soldier fired a stun round, dropping the alien to the floor. "Anyone else feeling brave?" Scott asked. The others raised their hands. While his team secured the command center, Scott accessed the main computer. He downloaded everything: ship movements, security protocols, weapons specifications. Patricia had designed a data spike that could extract information faster than any Confederation security could stop. The second team, led by Lieutenant Maria Patel, raided the weapons storage. They took what they could carry: power cells, targeting systems, shield generators. These would be reverse-engineered back at the base. The third team, under Sergeant Ben Cooper, planted devices throughout the facility. Not bombs, but small transmitters that would allow them to listen to Confederation communications. 30 minutes after they arrived, the humans were ready to leave. They had what they came for. As they retreated to their ships, alarms finally sounded. Confederation security forces rushed to respond, but they were too late. The human teams were already loading their stolen equipment. A Confederation cruiser appeared in orbit, having detected the disturbance. It launched fighters to pursue the intruders. "This is where it gets interesting," Scott said as their ships lifted off. The fighters were faster, more heavily armed, but Patricia's stealth technology confused their targeting systems. And the human pilots had an advantage the aliens didn't expect. They could withstand higher G-forces during tight maneuvers. Gregory Howard, their chief military strategist, had studied this carefully. Most Confederation species evolved on worlds with lower gravity than Earth. Their bodies couldn't handle the same stresses that humans had adapted to over millions of years. The human ships pulled turns that would have knocked Confederation pilots unconscious. They accelerated at rates that would have broken alien bones. One by one, the pursuing fighters fell behind or lost track of their targets. Back at the asteroid base, the teams returned to cheers. The raid had been a complete success. Gregory studied the stolen data with growing excitement. "This changes everything," he told Admiral Russell. "They've documented our physiological differences. They know we're stronger, faster, more durable. But look, they think these are our maximum capabilities." Olivia smiled. "They have no idea what humans are truly capable of when pushed to our limits." The first major strike had proven the Hellworlders could hit the mighty Confederation and escape unscathed. It would not be the last. 3 years passed since the first human strike. The Hellworlders had grown from a desperate resistance into a coordinated force that struck fear across Confederation space. Dr. Michelle Garcia bent over her workbench, carefully adjusting the weapon in front of her. It looked like a standard pulse rifle, but inside it held something new. "Is it ready?" Admiral Russell asked from the doorway. Michelle nodded. "Final testing is complete. These weapons target the specific biology of Khazari soldiers. Their scales reflect most energy weapons, but this bypasses that defense." This was Michelle's specialty. She had studied alien physiology and found their weaknesses. The Confederation had many species, each with different strengths. But they also had different vulnerabilities. "How many can we produce?" Olivia asked. "Enough for the New Eden operation," Michelle replied. New Eden was a human colony that had been under Confederation control since the beginning of the war. Its liberation would mark a turning point, the first time humans had attempted to reclaim a populated world rather than simply strike and retreat. In the training center, Lieutenant Ryan Peterson was preparing pilots for the mission. He had made a discovery that changed space combat forever. "The simulator will push you to 8 keys," he told the group. "That's enough to make most Confederation pilots black out. But humans can take it, especially with our new G-suits." The pilots nodded. They had been training for months, pushing their bodies to withstand forces that would crush their alien opponents. "Remember," Ryan continued, "they expect us to fight like they do, keeping to safe acceleration limits. When you break those limits, they won't be able to track you, much less hit you." 3 days later, the attack on New Eden began. 50 stealth ships dropped out of faster-than-light travel near the planet. Confederation sensors detected them only seconds before they entered the atmosphere. The battle was unlike anything the Confederation had seen before. Human ships moved at speeds their defense systems couldn't track. When Confederation fighters gave chase, they found themselves outmaneuvered by pilots who could withstand maneuvers that would kill most aliens. On the ground, human soldiers armed with Michelle's weapons cut through Khazari defenses that had previously been impenetrable. The aliens retreated in confusion, unable to understand how their advantages had suddenly become meaningless. Within 6 hours, New Eden was free. Human colonists emerged from their homes to cheer the liberators. Similar operations freed 2 more colonies in the following weeks. The Confederation High Command met in emergency session. For the first time in its long history, it faced an enemy it couldn't easily defeat. "These humans fight like nothing we've encountered," a Xyrillian commander reported. "They endure conditions that would kill our troops. They ignore pain that would incapacitate our soldiers. They keep fighting when logic says they should surrender." The Khazari Supreme Commander hissed in frustration. "We must increase our forces, crush them with numbers they cannot match." But the Confederation's military was stretched thin across thousands of worlds. They needed help. They turned to the Draxul, a mercenary species known for their brutality. The Confederation had avoided using them before, finding their methods too extreme. Now, desperation changed their minds. The Draxul arrived at New Seattle Colony 1 month later. Unlike previous Confederation forces, they didn't attempt to control the population. They simply started killing. When reports reached the Hellworlders base, the command room fell silent. Images showed civilian bodies in the streets, entire families executed, buildings burned with people inside. "They're trying to terrorize us into submission," Samantha Wright said quietly. Eric Johnson's face had turned to stone. "They don't understand humans at all, do they? This won't make us surrender." Admiral Russell stood and addressed the room. "Until now, we've shown restraint. We've focused on military targets. We've avoided unnecessary casualties." She paused, her eyes hard. "That changes today. Initiate Protocol Tartarus." No one spoke. They all knew what those words meant. The gloves were coming off. The Confederation was about to learn why Earth was truly called a hellworld, and what its children could become when pushed too far. Colonel Alan Foster stood before the Special Forces team, his face lit by the dim red lights of the briefing room. These men and women were no longer just soldiers. They were the embodiment of Protocol Tartarus. "The Draxul think they understand fear," Alan said quietly. "They're wrong. Fear is what prey feels when the predator is near. Today, we remind them that humans evolved as apex predators on a world more dangerous than they can imagine." The soldiers wore new combat suits developed by Patricia's engineering team. Black and silent, the suits enhanced human strength and speed beyond even Earth-normal capabilities. They allowed soldiers to fight in environments that would kill unprotected aliens. Extreme heat, Toxic atmospheres, crushing pressure. Our target is the Draxol command ship orbiting New Seattle, Allen continued. Intelligence confirms it carries their high command. We will board it, capture their leaders, and send a message the entire Confederation will understand. In the medical bay, Dr. Nathan Winters supervised as each soldier received injections. The combat stimulants were his creation, compounds that allowed humans to fight for days without rest, to ignore pain that would cripple others. These will keep you alert and functioning for 72 hours, Nathan explained. Your bodies will pay for it afterward, but you'll have the edge during the mission. The team departed in a ship using Patricia's most advanced stealth technology. It approached the massive Draxol vessel undetected. When they were close enough, the humans used personal jetpacks to cross the void of space and land on the command ship's hull. They cut through the outer plating with tools designed to work silently. Inside, they moved like ghosts through service tunnels and maintenance shafts. The first Draxol guards they encountered never had a chance to raise an alarm. The humans moved faster than the aliens could react. Their enhanced strength made even the physically powerful Draxol seem weak in comparison. Deeper in the ship, the team split up, half headed for the engine room to plant explosives. The other half, led by Allen, moved toward the command center. Remember, we take the command staff alive, Allen whispered. They need to witness what happens next. When they breached the command center, the Draxol leaders were unprepared. A species that prided itself on inspiring terror now found themselves experiencing it firsthand. Allen stepped forward as his team secured the room. Your forces massacred human civilians on New Seattle, he said to the Draxol commander. You thought that would break us. Make us surrender. The Draxol commander hissed. It is how wars are won. Through fear. No, Allen replied. Fear is a tool, not a weapon. You're about to learn the difference. The humans planted devices throughout the command center, not weapons, but transmitters. They broadcast across all Confederation frequencies. This message is for all Confederation forces, Allen said, his voice carried to thousands of ships and worlds. Humanity has shown restraint until now. That time is over. The Draxol command ship will be destroyed as payment for New Seattle. Any future attacks on civilian targets will be met with tenfold response. We did not want this war, but we will end it. The team retreated to their ship, taking the Draxol command staff as prisoners. As they pulled away, the explosives detonated. The massive command vessel broke apart, secondary explosions rippling through its structure. Across Confederation space, the video of the human strike spread rapidly. Many watched in shock as a small team of enhanced humans overcame defenses that should have been impenetrable. On the Khazari homeworld, unrest grew. Subject species that had long served the Confederation began questioning their leaders. If the mighty Draxol could fall so easily to humans, was the Khazari protection really worth the cost? Admiral Russell watched reports of the mission's success with grim satisfaction. This is just the beginning, she told her command staff. The Confederation thought they were dealing with civilized beings who would follow conventional rules of war. Now they'll face true Hellworlders. In the detention area where the Draxol commanders were held, one asked a human guard a question. What kind of species are you? The guard smiled. The kind that evolved on a planet that tried to kill us every day. When everything on your world is trying to eat you, you either become tougher than all of them, or you die. We're still here. 8 years had passed since Earth fell. 8 years of fighting, adapting, and growing stronger. The Hellworlders were no longer just a resistance movement. They had become a force that made the mighty Confederation tremble. Admiral Olivia Russell stood before the largest gathering of human ships ever assembled. 120 vessels of all sizes formed the fleet. Some were captured Confederation ships. Others were human-built craft incorporating reverse-engineered alien technology. All were crewed by men and women who had spent years preparing for this day. Operation Homecoming begins in 6 hours, Olivia announced to the ship commanders. Earth has waited long enough. The plan was bold but simple. The main fleet would punch through the blockade above Earth. Meanwhile, ground forces led by Lieutenant Commander Sofia Rivera would deploy to key cities to disable the occupation forces' control centers. In her quarters, Olivia looked at an old photograph of Earth taken from space. Blue oceans, white clouds, green and brown landmasses. Their home. "We're coming," she whispered. The attack began with a wave of Patricia's newest stealth ships. They slipped past the outer defense perimeter undetected. Only when they launched their weapons did the Confederation forces realize they were under attack. The main fleet arrived moments later, emerging from faster-than-light jumps closer to Earth than the Confederation thought possible. Human pilots pushed their ships to speeds and maneuvers that alien crews couldn't match. Commander Eric Johnson led the assault on the Confederation flagship. His voice was calm over the communication channels as he directed the battle. "Focus fire on their port shields. Group 2, flank their support vessels. Group 3, prepare for the gap." The space around Earth lit up with weapons fire. Confederation ships struggled to coordinate their defense. Many alien crews hesitated to engage the human vessels directly, having heard stories of the Hellworlders' ferocity. On the surface, Sophia's forces landed in dropships designed to bypass Confederation air defenses. Her soldiers moved through New York, London, Beijing, and other major cities with precision. They had trained for years for this mission. "Target their communication hubs first," Sophia ordered. "Then power stations. We need to isolate their command centers." The Confederation occupation forces had grown complacent after years of easy control. They'd never expected humans to return in such numbers, and with such determination. Many alien soldiers surrendered rather than face the Hellworlders in combat. In orbit, Eric's ships surrounded 3 Khazari command vessels. The aliens had nowhere to run. "This is Commander Eric Johnson of the Human Liberation Fleet. Surrender your vessels and prepare to be boarded." To his surprise, the response came quickly. "We surrender. Please, just don't send your boarding teams." The Hellworlders' reputation had spread far and wide. Stories told of humans fighting in conditions that killed most species, of their incredible endurance and determination. Some were exaggerated. Many were not. As the battle turned decisively in humanity's favor, Admiral Russell received an unexpected message. It came from a Xorilian vessel that had kept its distance from the fighting. "Admiral, I represent a coalition of 17 Confederation species," the Xorilian said. "We have opposed the actions against Earth from the beginning. Many of us have secretly aided your resistance. We wish to help negotiate the end of this conflict." Olivia was skeptical but intrigued. "Why would you help us?" "The Khazari have ruled the Confederation through fear for too long. They claimed humans were dangerous and needed to be contained. They were right about one thing: you are dangerous, but only when threatened. You fight to protect, not to conquer. Many of us believe the galaxy would be better with humans as allies rather than enemies. As human forces secured Earth's major cities, they discovered something that filled them with both rage and determination. Earth had suffered under occupation. Cities lay in ruins. Populations had been displaced. The planet bore the scars of 8 years of alien control. But the human spirit remained unbroken. As Sophia's teams entered each city, people emerged from hiding places to cheer their liberators. They had endured, adapted, and survived, just as humans always had. Earth was free again. But the fight was not over. The Hellworlders had shown the galaxy what humanity could do when pushed to war. Now they would show what they could do to build peace. 1 year after Earth's liberation, the planet was still healing. Cities were being rebuilt. Fields that had been scorched were green again. People who had been separated found each other. Life continued, as it always had on the world that had shaped humanity. Samantha Wright stood on a balcony overlooking the new United Earth headquarters in Geneva. Below her, representatives from human colonies and 15 former Confederation species gathered for a historic signing. "Nervous?" Eric Johnson asked, joining her. "A little," she admitted. Peace is harder than war in many ways. When the Khazari leadership collapsed after Earth's liberation, the Confederation had fractured. Some species remained loyal to the old order. Others reached out to humanity, seeking the new beginning. Zachary Miller and Laura Bennett, the original ambassadors from First Contact 16 years earlier, had been found alive. They had spent years in Khazari detention, but had survived. Now they helped Samantha navigate the complex process of building a new galactic alliance. The Khazari representatives have arrived, and Aid informed them. Samantha nodded. The Khazari who had orchestrated Earth's betrayal faced justice for war crimes, but not all their species had supported the attack. Those who had opposed it now sought reconciliation. Below, Admiral Olivia Russell entered the chamber to thunderous applause. She had become a legend across human space and beyond. The woman who led humanity from the brink of extinction to victory. She would oversee the signing of what people were calling the Terra Accords. "We stand at a crossroads," Olivia began, her voice carrying through the hall. "For 8 years, we fought because we had to. We showed the galaxy what humans become when threatened. But that is not who we choose to be." The room fell silent as she continued. "Earth is a world that shaped us through challenge. We evolved as a species that could adapt to any environment, overcome any obstacle. But our greatest strength isn't our ability to fight. It's our ability to cooperate, to solve problems, to build communities that thrive despite differences." Representatives from former Confederation worlds nodded. Many had come to respect humans not just for their fighting prowess, but for their creativity and resilience. "The alliance we create today will not be built on fear, as the old Confederation was," Olivia said. "It will be built on mutual respect and understanding. Each species brings unique strengths. Together, we can build something greater than any of us could alone." As the signing began, Samantha felt a strange mix of emotions. Pride in what humanity had accomplished, sorrow for what had been lost, hope for what might come. Dr. Michelle Garcia approached her with a data tablet. "The medical exchange program is exceeding expectations," she reported. "Their doctors are fascinated by our immune systems. Apparently evolving on a planet with so many pathogens gave us advantages they never developed." Similar exchanges happened in engineering, agriculture, and dozens of other fields. Human adaptability, once feared, now became a valued asset. That evening, as celebrations continued across Earth, Eric found Samantha in a quiet garden. "Do you think they understand us now?" he asked. "I think they're starting to," she replied. "They thought our strength came from our aggressiveness, from Earth's harsh conditions. They didn't realize that those same conditions taught us to work together, to protect each other." In orbit, a new defense fleet took shape. Not as large as the Confederation armadas had been, but formidable nonetheless. Admiral Russell had insisted on this. Peace was valuable, but it needed protection. "We prefer cooperation," she had told the Alliance representatives, "but we will never again be caught unprepared." 10 years to the day after Earth's liberation, representatives from 28 species gathered on the very spot where the first alien ships had landed. They unveiled a monument with words in multiple languages. It read, "We came from a world that challenged us daily. It made us strong enough to fight when necessary. It made us wise enough to choose peace when possible. We are children of Earth. We prefer friendship, but never mistake our preference for weakness." The galaxy had learned an important lesson. Humans evolved on a hell world, but that didn't make them monsters. It made them survivors, and survivors know the true value of peace.